All right, everyone. Thank you for attending the April 2025 Social Agent webinar. On all of these webinars, I tend to do a lot of different things. I'll somewhat bounce around to different topics, or we may go left or right depending on what the questions are. I will stop every 5 to 10 minutes to ask if anybody has any questions. Please ask questions. Don't hold back. We're all trying to get better here. We're all trying to make each other better. So, the more questions you ask, the better information everyone gets from this webinar. So, feel free to ask those things. Just like always, on every webinar I do, I will talk about follow up. But I've had a lot of feedback lately, and people want to know what the logistics are behind the program. What is it? What does it do? This is not a demo. This is not a sales pitch whatsoever. What I'm going to do is take you through how my clients are successful with the program and what they do to get there. A lot of that has to do with the layout of the system. And even if you never sign up to be a client with me, you can still take this information and do this on your own if you want to. That's always been my goal. There are going to be people out there that need help, and that's what brings income in for me. I, in turn, work my ass off to make sure that you guys get results like this here on the screen. There's Luciano, 500K in GCI, 5 years in a row. Um, he actually left two different, reviews 8 months apart. There's a lot of them in the group. Um, so we're going to go over the things that get those people to those levels. Um, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a step-by-step process that we use to, or that I recommend you use rather, to control your lead generation and close more deals by taking control of your own marketing. Right. Step one, and I really hate reading off of these things because I really like to control and just kind of go off the shoot from the hip with these things. But I'm going to try to follow a little bit of a layout here so it flows better for you guys. So the first thing I tell people, whether they work with me or not, is get away from the pay at close companies, right? Get away from the overpriced monthly lead platforms. You don't need those things. And many of you, I can't even tell you, thousands of clients I've trained have come to me and said, they've dug themselves into a hole because a lot of people are saving up to get into real estate. They're putting that money to the side, and then they get signed up for Zillow or Realtor.com or some other service that doesn't seem to be providing very decent results for that person for whatever reason. I'll just leave it at that. But that doesn't matter because they're locked into a contract and they're paying one, two, three, five, $10,000 a month. I've seen people paying as high as $25,000 a month, doing well, and then all of a sudden, now they still have 8 months left on a $20,000 a month deal. All their leads are being stripped away and given to the flex teams, the good ones anyway. They're being cherry picked because why would they give you the good leads when they can give those to their client to the flex teams that are paying them 40%? Right? Why do that when they can make way more doing this and then leave you guys with whatever's left over? That's what's happening, not just with Zillow, but a lot of these lead platforms across the board. They're moving to pay at close models. So I highly recommend you get away from those. Not singling out any one particular platform. I just don't like those platforms, period. And anybody who's been following me longer than a few months knows that's the case with me. Um, so those platforms, for lack of a better term, are designed to trap agents. They lock you into long-term expensive contracts. They give you garbage leads, or your pay at close 40 to 50%. Who wants to work their ass off on a lead, close a $10,000 contract or commission contract, and then by the end of it, they've given 50% to Zillow, 25% or 50% of the remainder to their broker, and now all that work you've done is now 2,000, 2,500 before taxes. Like, you got to close 70 deals just to make a living. It doesn't make any sense when you can sign up for a service, mine, someone else's, doesn't matter. As long as it's good, has reviews, has verifiable information about it that you can prove to be true. We have live reviews in the group that you can reach out to these agents on. There's 40 plus thousand of them. I always tell people in laugh, they go, what if it's not real? Well, I'd have to be the biggest con man in America to have 43,000 different agents that you can verify in their profiles. leave me fake reviews. I'll just leave that there. I mean, common sense is common sense, right? Um, you don't get really any real support with these most of these companies. And I think many of you, and answer honestly, go ahead and comment in the chat. You've probably signed up for some of these monthly service companies, and then once they have you locked in, it's ghost town. You're on your own. You have a problem, too bad. You're locked into the contract, right? I guarantee you, many of you that are on this call right now have dealt with that before. Um, and again, and there's no guarantee that they're going to keep the model the same. They change it overnight. They pull the rug out from under you, and you're screwed. Let me see who said that. Julie Matheson, and so confusing at times. Travis Bancroft said, Redfin partner paying agent paying 33 at close. Right. And that's just 33% to them. Plus you got to probably, unless you're a broker, you're paying a percentage to your broker. It just gets hard to deal with. Right. Um, so the first thing to do is making sure you pick the right type of marketing to use. I always recommend doing your own. Facebook leads are good. Instagram leads are good. You just have to be generating the right leads, the right design. The one size fits all model that a lot of these companies use for this doesn't work. You can't use the same ads for every agent in every fucking market. It doesn't work. Oh, and I forgot to preface this, by the way, guys. If you are one of those individuals that has a problem with curse words, then I am probably the wrong person to be watching on a webinar. Um, I curse, I say things, I'm pretty blunt, I'm very direct, but I do get results for my clients, and that's what matters. You're not paying me for what I say, you're paying me for what I do, right? Um, or you're following me rather. So again, you got to get away from the expensive contracts and the terrible leads and stop giving away your commission. As long as you're generating solid leads and you're making ads that are tailored to your market, that um, the process for us is when we sign up a client, we get them on a call, we get access to their tools so that we can build the ads in their system because they own it after this. And then what we do is we have our call, we do our discovery call, we figure out what market they're in, what they're after, what they're trying to do, and then we start to design the graphics and the verbiage so that um, we can hone in on the type of graphics and the type of visuals that work for that market, the type of dialect that the people use in that market, right? And that's what makes the ads successful. That's why we set up ads for you that work. And we also teach you how to do this so that you can continue doing this on your own in the future if you want to. Now, I know there's not a lot of people that want to do that. And that's fine. You don't have to do that, right? But you have the ability to do that with my system. You get the best of both worlds. Step two is controlling your own marketing. Again, I kind of touched on that a second ago. You need, whether you're using me, someone else, or you're doing it on your own, you need to be generating leads on your own. You need to be consistent. Stop signing up for stuff, giving it 25 days, and then calling it crap, right? Be consistent because you're not going to close a deal in 25 days. The life cycle is 30 to 90 days, even for a lead that's immediate. That's an immediate lead in real estate. You have to get these people in. You have to build rapport with them. You can't stop sending text messages and emails only, right? Think about how many spam calls and how many shit texts you get every single day. If you just text and email these people, you're just another name on a screen and a sea of other names on their screen. They have to know who you are. So call, 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 get them on the phone, use my tactics that I've given you guys in the group that I don't charge you for, whether if you're a client of mine or not, I give this stuff to you. The ways to get these people on the phone. Okay. Like that's what you need to be doing. If you're not doing that, um, you're losing, right? You're missing leads and you're paying too much money. Okay. So when you control your system, you control when you advertise, you control who your target is, you control how much you spend. You're not renting leads. You're building an asset, right? You're building a long-term sustainable system for yourself that, unlike Zillow agents that are losing their good leads to flex teams, you control everything. Your leads aren't being shotgunned out to multiple agents and you're paying thousands of dollars a month for them. Your leads are your leads. If you want to take a break for March, take a break for March. Turn them off. I don't recommend that. I'm a big fan of leaving your marketing going and never having gaps in it, because at some point down the line you're going to feel that lull in in when you stopped advertising, right? Setting proper expectations. Okay, most agents fail because they expect instant return, which is what I just touched on. Leads are not ATM machines. You're not going to, guys, give me 1 second. I have a screen issue here. Hold on 1 second. There we go. My apologies, guys. It cut out there for a second. You guys can see my social agent screen again, right? I'm just going to assume you can. Okay, cool. All right. So again, leads are not ATM machines. They're not just going to come in and be like, here, where do I sign? Right? You still have to put in the work to get these people on the phone, which is what my agents do. The difference is when my clients generate a lead, they're generating a lead with a specific ad. The lead or the user is submitting their information with the understanding that you're going to call them, okay, or try to reach out to them to get the information that they have. And the thing is a lot of people think, well, why can't we automate it and send it to them? One, you can't. You should never automate and send anybody anything until they've spoken with you, because if you do that, then you take away any leverage you have to get them on the phone and build rapport, right? If they feel like they've already gotten what they wanted, they're never going to talk to you again. They're just going to move on about their day. Once you have somebody on the phone, you have a 90% greater chance of getting them to the closing table, because now they've spoken to you and you spend some time with them. Okay. Even the best leads need time. People, when they submit their information, right? On Facebook, it's typically been about a 6 to 12 month uh, time to close, right? They're a little bit more top of funnel. However, with the new dynamic ads that have come out, our ability to build out AI models that attach to these leads and put the ads in front of users that are showing characteristics online of being someone who is lower in the funnel and more ready to go is what we've been able to do with these AI models. Okay. And you're seeing that with the reviews in the group, right? I think Forrest Bailey's on this call with us. Yeah, I just saw him comment. So Forrest will probably be able to jump in here in about 10 minutes, and I'm going to have him show you his screen and give you uh, his results and what he's done himself. But when you get these leads, even the hottest leads, I could hand you 50 approved, ready to go, mortgage ready to go leads, clear to close, all that. But if the lead doesn't talk to you or know who you are, they can't close them. And if you're not talking to them nicely, because I have encountered some calls where I hear agents being rude to these people, I can't make them close with you if they hate you, right? You have to call, you have to be professional. You have to give them what they're asking for. You have to build rapport, right? My job is to get you leads that can close. Your job is to close them, right? I had somebody comment on a post some months back, and she said, and if you agree with her and what I'm about to say, you should probably drop off this call right now because I'll never work with you. But um, she said, what was it? The post was about some listings that my client got signed and is on the market, right? She said, getting listings for people is great, but if they can't close them, then your leads are nothing. The fuck? Like what? That was the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. Like, so my system doesn't work if you can't close the lead that you signed and got listed. All I can do is get you the leads. I can't even convert them for you. You have to get them to the list to the part where they sign listing agreement, right? And once it's there, I definitely can't get it closed for you. You have to do that work. You have to price it properly. You have to market it properly. But you have all of those tools with my system. If you can't execute, then you should join every single webinar that I do, because you need to continue learning, right? And that's okay. We all have to learn. But if you go into these things with the mindset of they can give me signed listings, but if I can't close them, then they're the problem, then you're the problem, right? That's just reality. And again, if you believe that's not the truth, log off right now because I can't help you, right? Realistic expectations is where you need to be. Looks like I lost one. I'm not for them. Um, okay, so again, lead cycles are usually 30 to 90 days minimum with even the best leads. I mean, even if you did get a signed, ready to go lead, You still got to get them under contract. You still got to wait for closing. You're still at least 45 days out. And then there's delays or whatever, right? But that is an immediate deal. Okay. Some will be ready now, some won't. Some may be pre approved easily, some may need some help. But I can tell you right now, if you help those people that need credit repair help, which we've been able to weed out a lot of those because I know that you guys don't want to work those, but the ones that you do get, those people that you help and actually show respect to, I have seen that. I used to do it when I was active on the buyer side, and those people would send me so many referrals just because I treated them with respect when 4 or 5 other agents tossed them to the side or ghosted them because they realized they weren't going to get an immediate deal out of them. And you know where those agents are now? Most of them are out of the business, and I'm still here. And the agents that help those people are still here, and they're still getting referrals because they've made friends for life with those individuals. This is a relationships business. AI is never going to be able to take the place of human interaction. It can't happen. It won't happen, right? Nobody's going to be like, man, I miss my AI that sold me that house 5 years ago. Wonder what he's doing today. Nobody's doing that, right? So again, realistic expectations. Be patient but aggressive. Okay, aggressive to get them on the phone. Patient once you have them, or patience once you have them, right? So again, the biggest problem with this step is agents quit too early. Not just with my program, but with any of them. And some of them are shitty programs. Like, let's be honest, a lot of these guys that are out there that are fly by nights, they regurgitate and copy other people's programs that work like mine. And trying to think of somebody else that I know that does similar work to me. That there was one out there called Zale Media. They seemed to be good, but then they fell off the face of the earth. I don't know what happened to them, but again, the difference is I give a shit about what happens to you guys because I fell victim to a lot of the things that you guys have and are still falling victim to before you find me. And I don't want to see that happen to people. That's why I don't charge $8,000 for my training when I know I could, because I know, and this is strictly data based, that I have the best lead generation platform with the highest close rate in the country, period. That's not fluff. That's not talk. You can fact check that using AI if you want to. I have more positive reviews than every other company out there that's not Zillow or Realtor combined, by far, over double actually. And you can find all of them in the group. People always ask me, who do you recommend I talk to ask about your system? If I give you those people to talk to, then it's biased information. Why would anybody give you anybody that would say anything bad? Right? So I don't want to give you those people. I want you to go look through the group, search some keywords, find, 5 to 10 people from last year, from, you know, 2017 that posted, and ask them. Get unbiased feedback, whether it's from me or from any other company that you're looking at. Go find people that have used it, and don't call referrals that they give you, because they're only going to give you people that they know are going to tell you good things. Are they real or not? I don't know, right? But who knows? Okay. The next step is, working leads the right way. I'm kind of overlapping some of these steps, by the way. We're about halfway through here, and I'm gonna let Forrest talk here in a second before we continue to step 4. Um, but does anybody have any questions for me so far? I'm gonna break this up so it's not just so boring with me talking to you, or talking at you rather. So let's answer a couple of quick questions. I apologize in advance if I can't get to all of your questions. Um, and then I'm gonna let Forrest. I'm gonna go ahead and promote you to a panelist now, and then we'll let Forrest talk to you guys for a second. He's one of my clients. He's taken my training. He's done very well with it. I believe last time I heard he was doing pretty well. Um, and then I'll let him share his screen as well. Forrest, I just made you a panelist if you'll accept it. Does anybody have any questions right now? Drop it in the chat for me and I'll answer it. If not, I'm going to go ahead and let Forrest share his ads manager. Forrest, if you're okay with that, can you let me know? You're on mute, by the way.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I just got to figure out, it's been a while, how to share my screen here.
At the bottom of the Zoom, you should be able to, let me see, allow multiple participants to share. There we go. They changed so much stuff on here. Guys,
know.
while me and Forrest are getting him going, if you have any questions, now's the time to drop them in the chat. I think I have to stop sharing now. All right, Forrest, you should be able to share now. So again, guys, Forrest is one of my clients. I think he signed up probably about 5 or 6 months ago. I'm very bad with timing. I have a lot of people that I deal with. Um,
Around then, I think.
I think his last review went up a few months ago. I haven't checked in with him since. Um, just for full transparency, I did ask him for help in the group because we were getting overrun with all the stuff going on. Him and about 6 other of my trainees are mods. But his results are his results, and he's going to tell you those results. I did have a non-moderator guest speaker that was supposed to be on with us today. For those of you who didn't catch it while we were getting set up, unfortunately, he had to cancel on me about 10 minutes before this started. So Forrest hopped in for me as a last minute fill in, and I appreciate that. There is one question, real quick, but go ahead and share your screen with us, Forrest, and get that running while I answer this question. I'm at the bottom of the Zoom. You should see a green share screen option down there. Oh, you found it. Mark Wright said, "Can you explain how your AI function and is tied into Facebook? How does that differ from what Facebook does?" Mark, what we do is we have an AI model that attaches to your ad account. It works through our API connection into Facebook. Um, it attaches to any ad that runs on your specific ad ID. So if you were to get ads set up on one ad account with us and say you had a separate one that you were using for something else, it will not work. It is attached to one ad account. It works to do two things. First, it works to get the ads in front of people who are displaying characteristics online or on Facebook that would signal that that person's a bit lower in funnel and more ready to go to make an offer or put their home on the market. Um, and then secondly, it will work to lower your lead cost if it can, but it will not sacrifice lead cost, or I'm sorry, it will not sacrifice quality to lower your lead cost. So if it has to increase your cost per lead, but it knows it's going to get you in front of people that are highly likely to close fairly quickly, that's what it's going to do first and foremost, because that's the way it's programmed to work. I hope that adequately answered the question that you were asking there. I think it did, though. Also, that doesn't just apply to our ads; it applies to any ad that you were to build on your own on your ads manager as well. All right, so guys, I'm gonna go ahead and let Forrest take over. What he's just gonna talk to you a little bit about his results, what he's done so far, if he's gotten any GCI, and what that is so far, and then how he's working his lead. So this should be fairly quick, and then we'll pick back up on step 4 when he's done. If you have any questions in between that time, pop them into the chat, and then I'll answer them before we resume on this the process. And then once we're done with the process that I'm showing you, I'm going to give you guys a challenge of a couple something to do to go out and try to generate business for yourself right now. For those of you who don't have my system and or are waiting to sign up or be set up if you've already signed up. All right, Forrest, you can take it away.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yep. Guys, can you hear Forrest? Just to make sure. Yep, all good. Fire away.
Okay, perfect. I think probably the primary thing I want to touch on here that I actually haven't checked in a while is just the cost per result on the Facebook leads through the several ones. I've done a lot of testing on various different ones because every market's going to be a little bit different on which ads perform better. And depending on, what your ad spend is on it and everything. But seeing here at, $8 and some change on the Facebook leads is just, I mean, that right there is crazy. This ad right here, I kind of just built myself, and this is really good, I think, to contrast on here. I don't know a ton about it because everything was set up through you. This is the cost per result I got on that. This is the cost per result that we're getting on the leads that you're building for us. So I just think that's a really good one to point out there. This last quarter, I have a buy side that I got off of one of the ads sold at 335 at 2.5%. That's 83.75 on GCI.
8,300.
What was that?
8,375, 8,000.
Yeah, 8,375. And then just went under contract today, actually, as we were talking about, getting me on here to be a panelist. I was just on the phone, actually. 335, 2%, $6,700 GCI. That one was
Gotcha.
actually, and I'm sure you've spoken on this before, it's from a primarily buyer-driven ad placement, but ended up getting a seller on it. It was
Right.
more of a distressed property type of thing. So it wasn't a very high sale, which is still pretty decent for my area. I do have one under contract, another one that went under today that I got at 2.5%, 450,000, pretty average price range around here for 11,250.
You didn't tell me about those two. Which ad did those come from? Well, you
Those ones
just got
come
them, so
from, yeah, the What's Your Home Worth on mine has been pretty mainly buyer driven. It's kind of odd around here.
yeah.
Um,
So let me interrupt you real quick. I want to tell you guys something real quick because he mentioned that ad specifically. I hate that ad. I don't like it. It's only there because every single time I train someone, they insist on having that ad. Here's what happens with that ad. And this is not even a part of my mainstream ads. This is in addition to. I only throw it in there to appease people, but because they have to learn this lesson for themselves, unfortunately, that ad typically brings in people that are tire kicking or just nosy to find out what their home is worth. They're not really trying to sell their house, or like, Forrest said, oddly enough, it will bring in some buyers, which is weird, because it's a seller ad. But I have other seller ads, multiple that work much better than that one. But you will occasionally get a deal from that ad. All right, go ahead,
yeah, and
Forrest.
I think I completely agree with that. As you can see here, you can see, oops, don't want to go back on the page and ruin that. Let me, there we go.
Just in case you guys want to know my cup.
So you can see the difference between just, and this is just, quarter wise. And I've done a lot of testing on just the different ads on there. You can see these two right here for me, a list of homes, home buyer benefits. Those ones have produced a lot more, which also means my cost per lead's a lot less. It's good to do some testing like that because you know where you want to put your ad spend. And if you're like me, I got a ton of different businesses that I run. I like to make sure I track where my money goes, and I like to put it towards what I think is going to be the most lucrative. And those
Yeah.
ones are going to be the most lucrative. So the majority of them for me, have honestly come with the list of homes dynamic, which is probably for me in my particular market, what I'm going to be mainly starting to transition towards. I have a bunch of
Yeah.
other paid lead sources that I'm looking at just slowly trickling to get rid of, but unfortunately you're locked in on contracts and all that kind of stuff from like the big box lead generation. So as those trickle down, I'm going to be starting to funnel more and more of that towards this. Uh,
Yeah, you were locked into those before you signed up?
yeah, well before. Yeah.
Okay. So you're just finishing out
Um,
the contracts. So you
yeah,
are so you are transitioning more towards just solely the social agent program?
I mean, honestly, it's going to be my only lead
That's
generation.
that's great to hear.
If the other ones weren't still giving a couple here and there, I would just cancel the contract and pay the fee to get out of it.
Yeah,
But
and I don't expect anybody to cancel all of their lead sources. If
yeah,
there are other
no,
lead sources working for you guys, keep them. It's if it's working, it's working. But the social agent is just a way for you to be able to control everything that you're doing without having to pay monthly. But that's pretty cool to hear that
yeah,
you're
well, and it's
you're
it's
doing so
nice,
well with it.
if you hit a rock and a hard spot, man, you can just turn it off if you want to. I know you were talking about earlier, and I've noticed this too. I've turned them on and off. And honestly, it's best just to leave them on if you can and just adjust the daily spend. That way you don't lose traction, like you were
Yeah.
mentioning. But you can go up and down as you need to as your business changes.
Right. Yeah. If you don't have a
Life
thousand
happens.
dollars a month to spend, like you normally do, you can lower it to whatever you can spend.
Yeah,
Even $2 a day, like just so it keeps getting seen, so you don't have a big
yeah.
gap in your marketing for just turning it off.
Yeah, and
Um,
depending on, where your market is and how big your market is, I have a very lower size that we have over here. And some of my ads I've ran for a while on $2 to $5 a day, and they still kill it at like 3 a day sometimes.
yeah.
Sometimes it's like one or two, but most days we'll bring in at least a couple leads off of just a few bucks a day. I mean, I spend that on a coffee a day,
Yeah.
which is the crazy thing. And
Yeah. I
as
spend
I,
more than that on my
cut down
Diet
on
Coke habit.
bills. Yeah, yeah.
like
As I
this.
cut down on bills and other obligations, I can funnel more stuff in there. I do
Exactly.
have,
You have a question here. I want to get answered for you. Travis Bancroft said, so just this quarter you have sold one and two under contract, and he didn't specifically ask if those were buyers or sellers, but if you want to elaborate on that, you can.
yeah, that is 100% correct. Two of them buyers, one of them sellers.
Okay,
Um,
cool. Oh
and
no, well,
that's,
I guess he did in the question. I just didn't read it right the first time.
yeah. And
Um,
it's off of a very low budget spend. Um, because as I'm trying to get all those other lead sources dwindled down, because honestly, I don't see a return on investment on them. Most of them kind of nowadays tend to be other agents trying to inquire about listings and just getting just bombarded with just a bunch of BS. Um,
yeah,
as I keep doing that, it's just going to get funneled more into here. So I'm kind of excited to see what can be made of it once I can start putting in some serious funds. You know,
yeah, exactly. Barbara, and forgive me if I say your last name wrong. I think it's Schmiel. Not very good at pronouncing last names. She said, Forrest, can you move the set name column so we can see the results? What results are you asking about, Barbara? Because um, what I'm looking at on the screen shows the number of leads, the total amount spent, and the ad spend. I mean, and the cost per lead per quarter. What other results were you looking for specifically? Because those are the main ones right there that I know of. Unless you're talking about something specific, we'll wait for her to respond. But real quick, guys, to touch on what he said, that this would have gone. I guess we're just going to talk about follow up piece here instead of at the end. Um, when he said, the buyer's ads typically bring in a lot of sellers. Here's why, because most of you are probably going to ask that question. Um, when when you're advertising, most sellers are going to end up in the market as a buyer first. Nobody goes out and sells their house or puts it on the market and then figures out what they can be approved for and then figures out what kind of house they want or where they're going to go, right? With the exception of death, divorce, moving out of state, things like that, almost all sellers are going to end up in the market and come through a buyer's ad first. The seller ads that we've created are really good at grabbing those people that are looking to sell only. And of course, they will occasionally grab, sell buys as well. But most are going to come through ads like home buyer benefits or list of homes, which is our best ad, or the open house ad, or one or a myriad of the whole collection of buyers ads, with
the
the
open
exception
house.
of also, of course, first time home buyer. That's pretty self-explanatory as to why that doesn't happen. Um, but and then people always ask, like, why are the buyer leads a lot less than the seller leads? And I guess it's, to me it would sound like common sense, I guess, because I do this all the time. But um, the market's much smaller, right? There's you know hundreds of buyers for every one seller that's out there. So naturally, the buyer leads are going to generate more leads and have a lower cost per lead, right? But on average, we see in like the hardest cities to generate leads in, we see around a $50 to $60 a lead average. The best, like Barbara, for example, I think the last time I looked at hers, and she just made a post, hers were like $10 a lead, which is phenomenal on the seller leads. And they will convert. You just have to be really aggressive following up on them and getting them on the phone. It's not that they don't want to talk to you, but people are already hesitant to answer their phone because of the damn telemarketers that call 19 times a fucking hour. Like, excuse my language, it makes me mad because it really does hinder your ability to get a hold of these leads. That's why you have to be aggressive. But the ones that are aggressive, like Forrest and others, they do well because they call and they call and they call and they text and they, things like that. Um, can you do me a favor, Forrest, that where it says customize pivot table at the top right, can you close it out? It's in the top right of the
Uh,
browser. It might be behind
oh,
your
oh, it
Zoom
is. Yeah,
screen.
it's behind there.
Yeah, I can't see your Zoom screen on your
There we go.
deal.
Okay.
Barbara, did that open up what you were looking for? Because I saw your message. It said it's covering. Okay, there it goes. She sees it now. I guess it was covering it up. Depending on your screen size, it may have been covering up the cost per result. On my screen, it was showing. That's why I was confused.
Oh, okay.
Um, and then let me see. Julie Matheson said, Are we requesting just one ad from you, or did he ask for something specific? Julie, I have a program and I have multiple options. Each one is tiered with certain things that come with it and certain things that don't, depending on which one you get and the pricing levels. But you get multiple ads no matter which one you go with. Like, our option one comes with 4 ads, 2 ads seller, 2 ads buyer. Option three has, I'm sorry, to option two has 8, or wait, is option two, two has 6, three has 8, four has 12. And then 3 and 4 come with the AI and the retargeting. Option three comes with it for a year, and then you can pay for more, or option four comes with it for life. So it just depends on what you're looking for, but feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook and I'll send you all the breakdown of the pricing and what comes with it and all that fun stuff, because it's a lot of different tiers. We have everything for people that are just starting out in the business, that are really budget conscious, that may not have the money to pay for the lifetime because it is more expensive, but there are a lot more ads. Every ad has multiple variations. So if you buy option four, which has lifetime AI, lifetime retargeting, 12 ads, each ad has 10 variations. So when you turn the ad on, it's not just displaying one photo, one set of verbiage. The AI is also displaying 10 different ads, 10 different photos, 10 different sets of verbiage. And in addition to getting it in front of leads that are more ready to go, if it sees, say, 4 out of the 10 variations that it's currently advertising doing poorly, it rips those out and replaces them automatically with ones that are similar to the others, but still a different look that it knows is going to do better, which in turn increases your lead quality and then lowers your cost per lead, so that you're saving and getting more as a result. Which is why, if you guys have seen my US wide numbers for the 6 teams I have on the East Coast, South, West Coast, Midwest, etc. Right now, for every 1,100 and change they're spending on ads, they're seeing $100,000 in ROI on return, which is huge. But keep in mind, those are teams with people that are dedicated to calling. If you're a solo agent, you can expect probably around, if just for easy math, $1,000 in ad spend, you'll probably see around 40 to 50,000 in ROI, which is phenomenal. We're seeing a 19% close rate on sellers. We're seeing a what is it, 9%, 8 or 9% close rate now, average on buyers, which is huge, and a blended uh, 13% close rate across the board. Let me see. All right, there we go. Okay, all right. And Forrest, you were finishing up on what you were saying.
Oh, I was just gonna mention, and you kind of targeted on that a little bit. Pun definitely intended. Um, on the follow-up, you have to give these guys phone calls. There's absolutely no way around that. I found out very quickly that just texting, emailing, you're just going to get blended in with the bombardment of other crap that people end up getting through their phones and their emails and everything on a daily basis. Um, you got to get people on the phone. You got to be able to find that little bit of human connection, no matter what that is, whether it's just a joke or some kind of commonality, and just to be able to build that rapport and provide actual value. Because a text message or an email, like, while it might be informative and you think it's good information, it's not going to provide that connection that's needed to start turning these into clients.
Right?
Uh,
Will they even read it? Right? Is
and
the
that,
thing. And
yeah, and that's a big question. Are they even seeing it? Um, but once you start giving a phone call, and people will start reaching back out, and some of them will be, no's. Some of them will get mad at you for calling them. But I mean, I get that with all my other lead generation, you know. But also, you gotta contact them, preferably like as soon as you can, because a lot of
exactly.
people, like you've mentioned many times before, and it rings true, they forget what they do. Almost
Right.
immediately sometimes. I didn't put a lead in. Yeah, you did. You submitted some information, and that was like, maybe I missed it. Maybe that was a day before, and they straight up just don't remember putting it in.
Right. So let
Um,
me give you guys a live example. Right. I'm gonna put you in their shoes for a second. and I want you guys to be honest. Comment in the chat. Okay, when you're on Facebook, you've probably submitted something on Facebook to an ad before, right? But pretend you're not in real estate. Pretend it's insurance or something. Okay. You see the ad, you submit your information. Okay. And then what do you do right after? You go right back to Facebook. You're watching reels, you're commenting on friends and family's posts. You're, posting your own stuff. You're doing all kinds of different things in the next 15 minutes. So if you don't get a call for a few hours, which is, or more, you're not going to remember you did that later. Nobody does. I could probably tell you guys right now, ask you this question. What were the last 3 things you liked, commented on, or shared on Facebook or watched? Could you tell me what those were that were non-real estate related? Because you can't think like a realtor here. Almost none of you can tell me that with accuracy. Okay. Neither can these people. Okay. So when you're having trouble getting a hold of some of these people, do the things that I've posted in the group, right? One thing that really works for me, and especially with working dead leads, is I'll email them or I'll text them. Sorry, not email. I'll text them a quick text. Stop putting these big long signatures with your photo at the end of it, by the way, because that immediately screams spam to the
Mhm.
people. Okay. Quick message. Hey Forrest, this is William Hegman. You submitted your information about receiving a list of homes or whatever the ad's about for that particular lead. Um, I haven't been able to get a hold of you, so here's what I'm going to do. I don't know what your price range is, so I'm going to just send you a list of homes from 200K to 600K. They're not going to want that because they're not going to want to dig around all that stuff. I need to verify your email address though. And I always send the email address and I make 1 or 2 letters off, like I have the wrong one. And almost every time we have a 96% response rate on that text message. That's not my email address. Oh man, that's the wrong one. Here's the right one. I already have the right one, right? But I got them to respond. That's all you need. Open the conversation. Because when you tell them that, they go, "Oh, I did submit for that. Oh, he has the wrong email address. I want to see that." All right, cool. When they respond back, we have we have a 96% response rate to that. Then we message and go, "Well, hey, I tell you what, I need to verify your information to make sure we have everything correct with your name and phone number. I'm going to give you a call in a few minutes. I'll call you soon." Don't say, "Can I call you?" Don't say, "Is it okay if I call you?" Don't ask open-ended questions. Okay? At that point, we need absolutes. I'm going to call you. I'll call you in about 10 minutes. If they responded to your text, chances are they can take a quick call. I'll only need your attention for about 60 seconds to verify, but once you've spoken to them, you've got rapport now. You've got dialogue. Now you've got an opportunity to build on that. Those are the things that my clients are doing to get these people converted and close deals. Right? They're listening to these things that I teach you. Some of you guys are spending, thousands and thousands of dollars on other programs and then completely abandoning them after 30 days or less. Right? I've had people message me 4 days after training and be like, "You know what? This ain't working." 4 days. You gotta get leads in and work your leads, right?
Mhm.
That's why you're losing. It's not the system. Well, sometimes depending on what you sign up for, it could be the system. But if you've got a proven system where you're seeing the results, like in my group, and I'm sure there's others that might be out there like that. Um, if you're seeing others win and you're talking to others that are winning and you're losing, you're doing something wrong. Okay. And that's why I give you the videos. That's why I give you the training. That's why you have support. You have the tools that you need to close. You're just not utilizing them, right? Utilize the tools that are at your fingertips, put some time into it, and you're going to win, right? Barbara Shamil, I think that's you. Cut your name off. Yeah, there it is. Tell me if I'm saying your last name wrong. Also, I'm just curious. Shamil. It's Chmil. Shamil. I think that's it. Camille. See, knew I was messing it up. Okay. Well, I get to butcher your name because people butcher mine too. They call me Hangman, Hedgeman, Hegerman. There's not even an R in my name, but they do it. Anyway, she said, "I'm brand new here and ran the list of homes ad and discovered many weren't anywhere near me. So I learned that I have to ask about the area where they want to where they want the list of homes for, etc. Is that normal?" Yes. So unfortunately, with the federal lawsuit that happened against Facebook back in the day, we can no longer just target 1 mile radius areas. We have to target a 15-mile radius. So if you tell me, "Hey, William, I want to target Austin, Texas," which is where I'm at, it's going to do a 15-mile radius around Austin, not 15 miles from the center. It's going to go outskirts of Austin, then 15 miles from there. Okay, so that could be far away from you guys. If you want to target a smaller area or a specific county, we can do counties as well, which brings it down a little bit. Um, and doesn't go county plus 15 miles. It just goes the whole county because apparently that's sufficient for the DOJ, whatever. But those are the things that we kind of battle through. So yeah, sometimes you have to play with targeting a little bit to get it down, but you get it down at some point. But those are the things that we run into that can happen. Um, and Kathy Hart said, but yeah, but those work and just refer them out. They do indeed. And I've referred out quite a few and been paid referral fees on them. I have agents that solely use this system just to refer. Like they don't want to work anymore as an agent. They just work the leads and then send them to people to do the work and then take a 25% referral fee. I have a client that did about 250 last year in just referral fees alone. So there's multiple uses for this program. Even if you retire, you can still make money with it. Yeah, yeah. So you're in the New York area, so it brought in leads that are, yeah, that's probably because your radius is just too big. So instead of targeting just the city, we probably need to bring it down to like a municipality and then do New York is much different real estate than the rest of the country. I've learned that. So you have to really kind of hone it in. But yeah, that's easy to do. Um, but Forrest, for the sake of time here, I'm gonna cut you short, dude. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
coming on and showing these things and so people can kind of see that like it's not just what I'm telling them, right? It's what you guys are telling them. And again, guys, I brought Forrest on here, so his information is biased, right? You can believe it, you cannot believe it. These are real results.
Well, I
Um,
100% encourage people to get on there and just talk to some random people that have been there. Just make a post on there. Say, hey, I'm kind of curious, if you've actually done this, reach out to me. And you'll get people that want to reach out because they care enough, they want to share the wealth. There's no gatekeeping in there,
that's
and
why I do it that way.
yeah, yeah,
And
and have people reach out to you. Have some real conversations with somebody not like myself that, someone that for 100% fact that's going to give you the information because they know it, they believe it, and they have no connections other than to share the wealth with what success they've had.
right, and that's why I told you guys in the beginning when Forrest came on, I am completely transparent. And all the way down to the fact that I tell you that I curse a lot, and if this isn't for you and cursing you don't like, get off this call. Right? I'm pretty upfront about who I am and what I do. Most of you guys that know me are friends with me on Facebook. Many of you that don't really know me personally are also friends with me on Facebook. You know how blunt I am. It's who I am. I am unapologetically who I am going to be, and I'm never going to change that for anybody. So if I want to say fuck, I'm going to say fuck. But if I'm going to, but when I tell you that I'm going to help you get to $300,000 in GCI a year, I'm going to help you get to $300,000 in GCI a year. Okay. I do what I say I'm going to do. It's that simple for me. I always tell people, like, on these calls, because I'm sure that some of my scammy ass partners that are trying to leech off of my system, or not partners, but scammy ass so-called peers that say they do what I do, join these calls to try to roach off of my system and scam you guys into things. They do this. I don't care about calling them out. I'll do it all day long, and I'll pick that fight and I'll fight it. Right? It upsets me when that happens to you guys, and because it makes me look bad. It makes the people that do enter this industry for lead generation and marketing look terrible because it's like contracting, right? You've got your really good ones and then you've got a ton of bad ones, right? It's the same thing here, right? But that's why I'm transparent with you. I told you the second Forrest joined, my client that is not a moderator of the group had to cancel on me. So I had to find someone quickly, and thank God Forrest got on here with me, but he is a moderator. That has no bearing on what he said. He's still a client of mine. The reason why he's a moderator is because I only allow clients to be moderators of the group because they know the system, they know it works, they believe in it, right? And they are happy to do that with me. If they didn't, they wouldn't be clients or moderators of mine. But I wanted to be transparent with you guys because I want you to know that, right? And because I brought him on, you could be taking that as biased information. Okay, so I still want you to go and find out who all the moderators are. It's in the group, you can see it. Talk to people that are not moderators. Go back to 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22, so on and so forth. Go all the way back to 2015 when I started the group. Talk to some of those people from 10 years ago. They will give you unbiased feedback because if I tell you who to talk to, it's biased feedback, right? Let me finish up this last part. We went a little bit over on this section. Got just 2 more steps to go. It'll be a few minutes, and then we'll get you going. Forrest, I really appreciate it jumping on
Yeah,
last minute
yeah.
like that, man. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you offline here in a little bit. Um,
Yep, no
all
problem at
right,
all. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me too.
thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
All right, man.
Um, all right, so everybody, real quick. So let's see here. Where are we at? Let me get this out of my way. So we were on step 4. We already kind of touched on that. Working the leads the right way. We just went over that with Forrest, so I'll skip that step for you because we already covered it. Excuse me, I'm sorry, guys. Most of you don't know I had surgery for my esophagus, so I have issues sometimes. Um, you know, trusting the system and sticking with it. That was step 5. We covered that inadvertently on that call. Step 6 is, being in the right mindset and professionalism. We also covered that, right? You have to be ready to work these systems. Sean, I'll answer your question in just a second. I've got to stick to the follow up piece right here, and then I'll answer that for you. I can't control Medicalls, but I'll tell you why they do that. So being in the right mindset, and then the professionalism when you talk to these people is going to be, that's your first impression with these people. If you're not doing it right, you're going to lose them immediately. And then step 7 is just a recap. I'll spare you of that, but one, getting away from the high monthly fees and getting into a system that you own that you don't have to pay monthly fees to, like mine, or something else. If you don't like me, maybe find something else like that that works for you. If you don't have commitment to follow up, don't sign up for my system, because what I don't want is for you to sign up for my system because I know it works. You don't follow up on the leads and then you blame me for it. If you're not committed to working the leads and closing deals, I'm not for you. Um, the patience to let it work, trusting in the system, trusting in the leads, having the patience to let it work. You cannot run these ads for 3 weeks and quit. You just can't. Okay. Um, all of my clients to date right now, well, not all of them, but as an average, because there are those out there that just refuse to follow the system and they think they know best. And they don't close deals. You paid me for a reason, and you paid me because I know what I'm doing, right? They average 204,000 right now in GCI. I am working my ass off to get these AI models dialed in because I want to see you guys get to an average of 300K, right? 200K is still damn good. It's like almost 6 times what the average agent is taking home right now on their own. 40 grand a year is not getting you much anywhere in the US unless you're living in a box with no bills, right? Some are making 500K to a million. Luciano, Amanda Vince doing really well. Who's the other one? Christina Murphy. I think she did like 350 in the last 2 years. Right here, where's she at? She said 2020 she closed 250K, and then this year there's another review from her. I think from 24 that she did 350 plus, and that was in like October, so she may have done almost 4. There's a lot of them in there. You can search through the group. Um, but again, the system's going to work if you work it. That's all you have to do. Now I'm going to cover a few questions here, guys, if you want to ask a couple, because we are at an hour and I do have to jump off here. But first I'll cover Sean's. Where is it? Sean said, since I started running your ads, I'm getting a ton of calls from Meta. Meta's telling me to increase my ad spend, and increase my spend to get better results. So you kind of answered it in the question. Any company is going to call you and tell you increase your ad spend to get better results. They want you to spend more money, right? That's how they increase their bottom line. So that's why they do that. There's nothing wrong with the ads. There's nothing wrong with any ads that you build, most likely, as long as you're following the system. But they're of course going to always call. That's their job. Their job is to, when you're advertising, those reps at Facebook are given a set of accounts. You're in their account set. Their goal every quarter is when this is how it was when I worked at Dell. Hey, William, your account set only spent 5 million last year. We need you to get it to 6. Call them and get them spending more money. That's what you're encountering right now. You're also going to encounter a lot of these fake Facebook messages and Facebook emails that are not real, that tell you your business page violated policy. We're going to shut you down if you don't do this and click this link. Look at the sender's email address. Look at the page, or look at the profile that's sending you that message. You know, Jackie M is not going to message you from Facebook threatening to shut your account down. That's not how that works. Okay, so ignore those things. They're scams. But the meta calls are not scams. Those are usually real. They're just trying to get you to spend more money. Let's see. I'm going to answer a few more questions here. Julie Matheson said, do you think I can get results in the Florida area? I do have quite a few clients all over Florida. Florida does really, really well. Very similar to Texas, very similar to California in terms of results. They do very, very well. You can search the group for Florida reviews. There's tons of them over the years in there. Thomas March said, what would you say would be the ad budget to make this work for your system? I have agents that spend as little as $10 a day. I have agents that spend as much as 50. I recommend 20 a day, but you don't have to run that continuously. If let's just say you have a $60 a week budget, you will get better results spending 20 a day for 3 days a week than you will spending $10 a day for 6 days a week. The more you spend per day on Facebook, Facebook prioritizes advertisers based on how much money they're spending per day. The average advertiser spends 15, so I tell people to do it at 20 and just run less days per week if they don't have 140 a week to spend on Facebook, which is 7 times 20. And you will get really good results with it that way. I have agents that spend roughly $200 to $400 a month on, starting out. They do well, and then they reinvest more and more as they close more deals to get more leads, which in turn creates more closings, assuming that you're working the leads properly, or that you're working them at all, rather. Stephanie's, I'm assuming that's Zermino. Let me see. Or no, it's not. Wrong person. Zentmeyer. How much ads? Oh, I just answered that question. She had the same question. Well, how much ad spend do you recommend? And then Julie Matheson, which ads do you recommend using the most? That varies area to area, but the list of homes is always one that works in just about every area we've ever encountered. When you sign up for my service, or if you sign up for my service and get ads built, we do extensive market research. I look at things to see what's doing good in what area and what's not. So I will always tell you, hey, this is what I recommend you start running in your area. Here's what works typically year round. Here's what works in different times. So you'll get all that stuff listed out for you if or when you sign up. All right, guys, we are 5 minutes over. I'll answer a couple more questions if you have them. If not, feel free to drop off. I do appreciate you guys joining us today. If you have any questions outside of when we jump off of this, feel free to shoot me a message on Facebook. There are a lot of fake profiles for me out there, but you will find the real profile in the social agent group. It's under Will Hegman, not William Hegman. It is the only one with the verified blue check. So if you're talking to any other profile but that one, you're talking to the wrong profile. This is the one that you should be looking for. You're looking at the screen right now. This is my profile. That's my cover photo. That's that. And if it doesn't have a blue check here, right next to my name, you're messaging the wrong person. It will not have a blue check on the profile picture. Scammers do that to make you think it's verified by putting it on the profile picture. It is not legit. So you guys have a great day. It doesn't look like there's any other questions. I know I have a couple of you that said you were waiting on the webinar to be done to sign up. Feel free to shoot me a message. I am getting ready to head to boxing with my daughter, so I may not be quick to respond, but I will respond sometime today or early in the morning. Thanks again for being here. It's always a pleasure. Would love if you guys signed up and become a social agent. Let me know if you're interested. Otherwise, good luck with your marketing. I wish you luck. Take care, and we'll see you on the next webinar. Have a good day.